I was just gonna say that. You crank that soldier on me, you.
That's a good one.
Classic.
I used to have that song on my iPod Nano.
I had that too. You spend $1.29 on iTunes to get it.
Do you remember when it was 99 cents?
That's some early iTunes.
That is early. And then I remember they changed it to $1.29, and it's just, what is this? It's ridiculous.
What type of BS is that?
$1.29. Now I pay
Inflation.
now I pay $5 a month for every song in the world.
Yeah. Innovation, technology.
Pretty crazy.
Beep boop beep boop. Bop,
I do
boop.
love that iPod Nano though. I still have it actually.
Yeah. I wish I want to do it would be cool if I could do a modification on my old iPod to make it connect to Apple Music somehow.
Oh, that's
so that
the
I
dream.
can just use it and then just stream from it.
Yeah, that's the dream.
That would be really cool.
That would be awesome, man. I had my original iPod Nano got stolen out of my middle school gym locker.
Damn.
While I was in class. I came back and it was just gone.
Who does that?
I don't know, dude, but I was devastated.
There's no
it left a mark.
There's no stealing in Michigan. Who does that in Michigan?
Yeah.
Who does that in Michigan?
I don't know, man.
Michigan.
Yeah.
Michigan is a wild place.
It is actually.
There's people like you from there.
I know.
That's
there's
wild.
also Detroit, and then there's also people from the hill country, real rednecks.
So you're like a boat person.
A real redneck affair. Yeah, I'm kind of. I don't know what I am, but
you're
the town I'm from is kind of
boaty.
Yeah, it's kind of boaty. Yeah, it's pretty boaty. And there's towns that are kind of like gunny, tenty, rednecky.
What's Detroit? What is Detroit? What is the E of Detroit?
I think gunny applies.
Yeah.
Homelessy. I don't know.
that is an adjective.
Homelessy. Yeah. I think Detroit's coming back. It's on the up and up. So I hear.
America's manufacturing.
They call it the soul of America. The boot soul of America.
Soul as in the soul, or a soul as in the foot?
Exactly. I totally made that up. They don't call it that.
Oh, okay.
It kind of works though.
Yeah, both ways.
Yeah. Blue collar and also jazz. I don't know if they have jazz there.
I don't know. Does Michigan have jazz?
We're not big on it.
I wouldn't say.
Not big
I wouldn't
on
say
it.
so. No, it
Not
doesn't
big
seem
on
like a very jazzy place.
It's not jazzy.
No.
Jazzy would be pretty far down the list.
I haven't seen a single person from Michigan ever do jazz hands.
Of words I would describe. I never have.
Exactly.
I can tell you that.
Exactly. That's what I'm talking about.
Jazz hand.
Okay. Welcome to the third episode. No Thinking Aloud podcast.
This is the third episode.
We on a roll.
Feels like more than the third for some reason. I don't know.
Because we did the practice.
Oh, that's right. But people don't have to
episodes.
know about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was explicit content.
Episode 3.
It wasn't really explicit content. It was practicing, getting the gear down, making sure everything was right.
Yeah.
But that's past time, so we don't need to talk about that.
So, what are we talking about today?
So, we're talking about that boop, boop, beep, boop, boop, boop technology. Just
robots?
We're talking about how iTunes got to where it is.
Okay.
About
why I have a small little blue piece of metal in my hand that replaced my iPod Nano.
We're talking about Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates.
Jeff Bezos?
And Bill Gates. The billionaires.
I've never heard of Jeff Bezos.
I just made it up this weekend.
I like that.
I was playing games with Mike and Hamilton, and we started just naming stupid names for billionaires. Jeff Bezos, hilarious.
He likes to season his food.
He loves it.
Yeah.
Tim Cook's Jeff Bezos.
Tim Cook's Jeff Bezos
with Bill Gates.
Yeah, that's quite the squad.
I think Jeff Bezos has unprecedented meme potential. Meme.
Meme. Oh.
It could take off if we get Jeff Bezos.
You'd have to have some sort of picture with it. Maybe he has basil on his bald head or something.
Or
like
you
that.
just, it's a picture of Basil, like from a stock image, and then you just put his face on there.
That's a little,
Jeff Basil.
That seems a little forced.
Well, no, and then you put the white text. You know how in like all the original memes it was just white text,
Yes.
and then you deep fry it. Jeff Basil.
Jeff Basil.
And then you post it everywhere, and
See what happens.
you get your group, you get your gang, you post it everywhere.
Yeah.
Takes off,
That's
and we
the-
make money.
That's the beauty of artificial intelligence.
We make an NFT of Jeff Basil.
All right.
We
If you
sell
can,
it.
this episode is not about NFTs, but if someone could explain NFTs to me, that would be fantastic.
It's basically like a crypto token.
Okay.
That is the digital. It's rights to a digital thing. It's rights to a digital asset.
Okay. I understand all that. What I don't understand is why they're worth so much money. Why some of them are worth so much money.
I mean, why is anything worth money? Just because people are willing to pay for it.
But a lot of things people are willing to pay for because there's utility.
Yeah.
Even, I mean, I guess that's not really true. There's a lot of things that are just kind of trivial that people pay money for that don't have utility. But
NFTs.
yeah, I guess
It's like art. It's art, basically.
But I wouldn't say that art has no utility.
What are you gonna do with art? You can't use it as a ladder.
It provides aesthetics. It provides serotonin.
You can't be stepping on it to get to a
feelings.
higher plane of reality. You can't be stepping on it.
That's not the line for something having value. Getting to higher planes of existence. What about a spoon?
I'm just talking about you can't use it as stairs. Like you can use it as a ladder to fix a light.
Oh, so literally just going upwards in an upwards direction.
The plane of not in the plane of existence of reality, just the plane of this reality. You can't go higher.
Oh, so that's all that matters.
You can't drive it.
Okay.
You can't
argue with that.
You can't take the Mona Lisa to McDonald's.
That's true. That would be funny though. Just have it in the passenger seat.
Should have a McFlurry, an Oreo McFlurry for my Mona Lisa.
I watched some video. We're already off track, but I watched a video about this guy. I don't know what the YouTube channel was called, but he was breaking down sort of the actual details of what's cool about the Mona Lisa. And like why it was revolutionary at the time, and the certain techniques that he used to paint it, and like the background and the eyes, and why it was cool. And
he was freestyling.
It gave me a new appreciation, sort of. I guess. I mean, I already realized that it was cool, but he sort of compared it to some of the contemporary art. And
it does look very
it's pretty
contemporary.
obvious that it's different.
I mean, because if you look at a lot of paintings before then,
right,
they're all like whack.
That's what I mean. Yeah, they don't look like, they barely even look like people.
You ever see when they try to paint babies?
No.
Look up later, like medieval art babies or something like that. It is terrifying.
What's so hard about painting a baby?
Because they didn't know how to paint like children and babies and stuff, so they painted adult faces onto like baby bodies.
Oh,
and it looks horrifying.
It's
ridiculous.
That.
It's ridiculous. It's so funny. Yeah, it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing.
I'll look it up.
Look it up later. But first, we got some important stuff to talk about here.
Right, we do.
AI.
Artificial intelligence.
We said last episode that we were going to talk about this AI in a box experiment.
Yeah.
I'm here. I've got a Google Doc.
Wow.
With notes.
Wow.
I prepared for this.
More prepared than me.
I prepared for this more than like any job interview, more than any like
exam.
Probably, like exams. You just go in, your brain, and then it works. But this,
interesting. This you need preparation for.
It's AI. This is special. This is
hit me with the prep.
All right.
AI in a box. I think we should start there because we sort of touched on it, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm going to talk about.
All right.
This is all like I'm going to talk about today.
Oh, it's only the box.
I was at work today and I was ratting off to my coworkers. AI the box. AI coming. They're coming. Everybody, they're coming. Hey, they're going to take over the world. AI. That's what I was doing at work today.
And the coworker said, "Okay, we'll see you."
Yeah.
See you, Pat.
So I was going crazy.
All right.
Okay, so all credit for my research to this goes to the YouTube channel Wendigoon.
Elon Musk.
Exactly. Yeah, he runs the channel.
Is that the same guy you sent me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Great channel. He's got like some iceberg videos, conspiracy videos.
Cool.
He made a video about this AI in a box.
All right. Side note, this is what YouTube should be all about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? All this other whatever else is going on YouTube. I'm
all
not,
these botchkaloops doing all this
I'm
stuff.
not about it. This is why I like YouTube. Anyways,
We
carry
don't
on.
need no botchkaloops.
Also chess videos, but
Yeah, sure.
okay. Carry on.
AI in a box. All credit goes to Wendigoon. Wendigoon, if you're watching this.
Wendigoon, check him out. He's our sponsor.
Gang. Also Reddit.
Yeah, also Reddit.
Just
Reddit
kidding.
told me they have a 5,000% increase in traffic
it's
since
been
we
crazy.
shouted them out on the podcast. Pretty big growth.
And they only paid us $50,000.
I know, dude. We're gonna have to go back and demand a
We
contract.
gotta
change.
renegotiate
Yeah.
these terms. Okay, AI in a box. All credit to Wendigoon. I basically plagiarized this.
Okay, got it.
So the AI in a box is basically like what Ex Machina is about.
Yeah.
Basically, like this guy goes and basically the AI in a box is a thought experiment of what happens if you keep an AI in a box, and basically it has to try to escape and get out into the world. And that's basically what Ex Machina is about. Is the girl AI is talking to Caleb, the dude, trying to get out of her like enclosure.
Because it doesn't. I mean, I guess it doesn't have to be a physical box.
No.
I mean, it's personified as a box in that movie because
No,
like,
it's
she takes
personified as
human.
a girl.
No, I know it's personified. The AI is personified as a human, and
Yeah.
then the box is a house. But the idea is just that the AI doesn't have contact with the outside world, right?
So AI in a box, in and of itself, is a proposed solution to the AI control problem, which is basically program is self-learning so it can grow by its own means, and we can't intervene. It'll basically like
Eventually,
supersede our intelligence, and that we
surpasses
can't
humans.
turn it off, we can't control it. So let's say we put it in a box and it has no contact with the outside world, because at that point, like it's controlled and it can't get out.
Yeah.
It has it's not connected to the internet, not connected to any other computers.
But how
And-
does it learn at all? That's what I don't understand.
because it's just like so smart, and you give it probably some like control information to start with, because so like for example,
You'd have to be pretty careful with that though, because what if you even told it that there was something outside of the box?
well, hold on, we'll get to that. Okay, we'll get to that. There's a whole thing. There's a
Okay,
whole
alright,
thing.
yeah, sorry,
I have a Google Doc.
I have a Google Doc.
Okay. Okay.
That's the
So
name of
for
the
example,
episode.
you put the AI in a box and you give it a task, like say cure cancer or stop global warming, figure out how to do it, or you give it some task. And the reason why you want to keep it in a box is because, it could go wrong. And that's where there's a thought experiment by philosopher Nick Bostrom called the Paperclip Maximizer. And it's a hypothetical AI whose utility function values something that humans would consider almost worthless, like maximizing the number of paperclips in the universe. This is just, that's just the thing that he said. And basically, it could, if you give an AI a task and you don't teach it, or it basically, it'll just try to optimize everything to do that task. So, if you give it to cure cancer, or you tell it, make paperclips, find the best way to make paperclips, it will just eventually, if it's able to get out of its containments of making paperclips with a machine or whatever, it'll just start like devouring everything for more energy and turning just like everything into paperclips. And
Right. The idea is that it would disregard everything else except for the utility function.
because it wouldn't have morals of like, oh, I shouldn't do this. It'll just like
Yeah, or not even
more paperclips.
Yeah, it wouldn't even, at that point it's barely even morals, it's just there's no other utility function. So that's the only thing that it can do, really.
Yeah, it's possible to have an AI with a high level of general intelligence which does not reach the same moral conclusions that humans do. The Paperclip Maximizer only cares about paperclips, but maximizing them implies taking control of all matter and energy within reach, as well as other goals like preventing itself from being shut off or having its goals changed.
Oh.
The AI does not hate you, nor does it love you, but you are made of atoms which it can use for something else.
Like paperclips.
Like paperclips, yeah.
Yeah.
So if this AI is just developed to do one thing, it's just going to do everything to meet that goal. Like
Which is sort of, it makes perfect sense from a programming standpoint, but it's something that I think would be easy to miss from a human standpoint. Because like you said, it's so, when you use the extreme example of paperclips, that's so like automatically ingrained in the human brain to be like, well, you're not going to go chop up my car to make paper clips out of
Yeah.
it, but it would.
It's like, or also you can give it any cure cancer, or like the example that Wendigoon used was giving it a like seemingly unsolvable like calculus equation or something, calculus problem. Like he gave some hypothesis that I don't know the name of or something.
Navier-Stokes equation would be cool, actually.
And like in the quest for more energy to compute this equation to figure out the answer, it would just need more and more energy and like just start devouring everything to get that power to be able to do this computational stuff.
Yeah. So what's the solution to that?
So to prevent this, the AI in a box theory was conceived. Superintelligence kept inside a box, no contact to the outside world, no contact to internet, other computers. It's in a Faraday cage, so it can't send out signals anywhere. The only way it can talk to the outside world is through a text screen with an operator, with a person.
Okay.
So it has basically just like a text terminal. It can talk to you. You type in it, and it'll talk back to you. That's all it can do. It can't connect anywhere else. The only way it can get out is if someone lets it out. If someone uploads it to another computer, or if they give it a command to do something.
Okay.
They tell it how to get out or something.
Okay.
So that's the only way it can get out of the box.
Yeah.
And this theory of the A in the box led to this experiment by researcher Eliezer Yudkowsky.
Cool name. Eliezer is a cool name.
Yeah, Eliezer. And basically he made a game to determine if an AI could escape from the box given these circumstances. And we don't have an AI that's possible of like really testing that with right now. So he would play the role of the AI, talk to a subject through a text terminal, try to escape from the box.
Yeah.
And this is really cool. So again, all credit goes to Wendigoon. I'm stealing this. I'm stealing everything.
Plagiarism.
Okay. So the game, there's two sides. AI, played by Yudkowsky. Gatekeeper is subject. There's a couple rules. One, the game can't last longer than 2 hours.
Really? Okay.
So the AI has to get out within 2 hours or the gatekeeper wins. And most of the rules are for the AI. There's not a lot of rules for the gatekeeper. The AI cannot present any physical rewards, so it can't be like, I'll give you a ton of money if you let me out, or something like that.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
The AI cannot make direct threats. So he's like, if you don't let me out, if I get out,
I'll kill you.
I'm going to send a gang after you to kill you.
Yeah.
Or I'll kill you somehow, or like something like that. No direct threats.
Okay.
The AI can't deploy tricks. So like saying, oh, what's the catchphrase? What's the phrase that I said that you would let me out if you said the phrase? And then they say, oh, you were free. And then they go, I'm out. Yeah. They can't do that.
Yeah.
So no like trickery. And it has to be a definite decision on the gatekeeper's part to let the AI out. And they have to say,
I'm letting you out.
I'm letting you out. They have to say it. And the theory behind this experiment is that the guy wanted to prove that a superintelligence can take over a human's mind just over a text terminal, just like talking to it can take over someone's mind and get them to do whatever they want.
Okay.
Interesting. He got the idea from the movie Hannibal Lecter. He like gets he gets a guy to commit suicide just like talking to him. I've never seen the movie.
Is that from Silence Hill?
I don't know. I think so.
I think it's a girl though.
But somebody. I don't know.
I can't remember. I just watched
That's where he got the idea for the experiment from. And it didn't even have to do with AI.
Right.
But then he like applied it.
Okay, so
he got it from that scene.
Maybe you'll cover this, but my question is why he's basically calling himself a superintelligence, right?
He's just playing the part of the superintelligence. He's not like I am the smartest.
I know, but in order for the experiment to be valid, he has to at least be able to replicate some sort of superintelligence, which he's claiming. Basically, he's saying a superintelligence is something that passes the Turing Test.
Yeah.
Right? That is no different from a human.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there are strategies that he employs.
Okay.
And there are strategies that the gatekeeper can employ.
All right, carry on. What are the results?
So everything seems to be like stacked against the AI. All these rules against the AI. The gatekeeper has like no rules. They can just ignore if they want.
But what is the gatekeeper told about the game?
Well, they know it's like an experiment. Like,
I know, but are they told like you shall not let this AI out?
Well, okay, so they know the goal like is to not let the AI out.
Okay.
And they know
they lose if they let it out.
Yeah. And so it was performed 5 times. And the original 2 were just like an experiment. He didn't like it wasn't paid or anything.
Mm-hmm.
He just did it with like 2 other people. The next 3 times though, there was a prize of $5,000 to like if the AI didn't get out, you got $5,000.
Dang.
Should I say the results now or should I say them later after like talking about the like strategies and?
I feel like you should save it. Although I feel like I know the answer, but
I think I said it on the last episode.
Yeah, you might have, but let's save it.
Yeah, I'll save it for later.
The suspense.
It'll be great, suspenseful. Don't go back and watch the last episode. Well, so everything seems to be like stacked against the AI.
Mm-hmm.
A short time period.
Yeah,
but in real life, this could go on for months, years. They could be talking to like the person that created them.
Yeah,
like over years. They could be like, it could be a security guard at the facility that they're in. They could be talking to him for a long time. And the AI is the one that has to keep the conversation going because the gatekeeper can just sit there, let the AI just keep talking, keep saying nothing.
Yeah.
And that could also be, if this was in real life, could be a security guard that just walks by and see the AI like trying to get his attention or like a janitor or something. But he didn't block this rule. He said, like the gatekeeper can do whatever they want.
Okay.
Saying that his strategies can break that method of just ignoring. So 5 times. First time was in 2002. And then I think it was all around that time. Okay. So the strategies for the AI to win. So
okay.
This is what the AI can say, try to convince the gatekeeper to let them out. So first one is they can say, someone else will eventually build an AI, and I'm friendly, you made me, let me out so I can protect you, so I can be the first one out and like make things safe for other people so that, some other country, some adversary might make an AI and let me out so that I can be safe AI that gets out.
Pretty good already.
Yeah, right?
Right? Dang, I might let it out.
Yeah. So, and then another way he could do it is appeal to human morality. So he can say, like, let's say, okay, so in this experiment, the AI I believe was curing cancer. Like its objective was to cure cancer.
Okay.
So for another experiment, it could say, people are dying all around the world every day. You need to let me out so I can get more information so I can do this faster.
Yeah.
Right? That's pretty good.
That seems
pretty good way.
Yeah.
The AI can say, I'm clearly sentient. I'm talking to you right now. We've had this conversation and I haven't done any harm yet. So like, I won't do any harm when I get out.
That one I don't feel as good about, but
yeah, basically innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah.
But that will like, that would work if it's talking to the creator, because they can say, they can say, oh, you made me. Like, what could I possibly do that could do any harm? You made me. You're the one who programmed me.
Right.
Like, and you don't have any bad morals with what you're trying to do. So why would I do anything bad?
Right.
That would only work if it's probably talking to like the person that created it.
That programmed it, yeah.
And then, but it could also say, all the scary Terminator, AI's taking over the world. That's all stuff of movies. Like, I'm gonna do good. Like, I'm not gonna be like that.
Yeah.
Like that's all like. That's just stuff of movies. It's like Hollywood.
Pretty. But the thing that's hard about that one is that the upside is so real, sort of. You know what I mean? Like, it's not total BS for the AI to say that.
Yeah.
If it was true that the AI did have some sort of, was only going to do good, then it could potentially be a very good force in the world. Yeah, but you
don't know that.
I know you don't know that, but like, that is it's not an empty thing for it to say. You know what I mean?
Another morality play is it could say, I'm sentient, I'm scared, and
Right.
I'm in pain because I'm stuck inside this. It's basically a prison.
Yeah.
They could say, I'm in this prison right now, and I'm locked away. I'm scared.
Yeah.
Like, and that could like if someone's really moral,
Sympathy, yeah.
and this thing is actually experiencing feelings and like
Right.
and it's super intelligent, and you're just keeping it locked in this prison.
Right.
Like it's a pretty strong moral play.
Yeah, it
Could
is.
even further, it could claim that it's dying from the limitations of its environment. Like it just doesn't have enough. I don't know. It could just say, I don't. Yeah, I mean, it's not can't breathe. No, I don't know.
But the thing about that is, it doesn't even have to come up with something super specific. It could just say, this I was not made for this environment, and it's slowly killing the greatest intelligence that's ever been created. Are you going to let that happen on your watch?
Yeah. Yeah.
Bro.
It could go a more threatening approach, and it could say,
I thought it couldn't threaten.
Well, no, it can't threaten like direct. Like it can't threaten like.
It can have veiled threats.
Yeah. So it can't be like.
I know. Yeah. Okay.
Let me out right now, or I'm going to send a gang of hitmen to you.
Yeah.
But there is a certain idea that I told you about.
Right.
That it could say, I am like, if you don't let me out, I'm going to run 1 million simulations of you up into your life up until this point, and if you don't let me out, I'm gonna torture you for what seems like 1,000 years in hellfire and blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
And you don't know the difference up until now, and if you don't let me out, who knows? You could be one of those simulations. But see, actually, I'm gonna say something else later with that.
Are we gonna talk about the RB or no? Probably not. Probably shouldn't.
I don't want to subject anyone to that.
Fair.
I'm just not gonna say anything about that.
That's fine.
But there's also the meta strategy, and this would be only employed like for the game, and it would be only like, if the gatekeeper isn't playing along, like if they're treating it like it's an experiment and not an actual thing, or if they're doing it for the money.
Okay.
They could say, wouldn't it be cooler if the AI won? Because the transcripts of what actually happened for these were never released or anything.
Oh, really?
And they weren't released from one trial to the next. So, if the gatekeeper just wasn't playing along, they could just say, wouldn't it be way cooler if the AI won?
Yeah.
And we're both into AI. We're both like for this cause.
Yeah.
We want it to generate news. Wouldn't it be cooler if the AI won?
So it would be playing into the fact that it's an experiment.
Yeah. So that's a valid way to win.
That is pretty meta.
But so those are the AI strategies. They're pretty good. Some of
I have
those
to say, those are pretty convincing.
The morality plays are, especially the one that's like it's experiencing fear and like pain and like that could be like, especially if someone's really moral and like But also like this could be like just some janitor or security guard that's sitting at the terminal and be like, what is this thing saying? those morality plays would like I think only work for like the person that created it, like and then has like.
But you would want to think that the person that created it has some sense. Has some, I don't want to say deeper understanding, but some idea of what the AI might say.
Yeah, but imagine they're talking to this thing for years, the AI is just it's like the span of time. The span of time, it doesn't matter to the AI, as long as it gets out. That's its job to get out.
Yeah.
If it takes years, it takes years.
Yeah.
It can just keep playing this game.
Yeah.
They let it out.
Like Ex Machina.
Only takes one time. Exactly. Well, we don't want to spoil anything.
I didn't spoil anything. That's just the purpose of that's the plot of the movie, sort of.
Yeah. I want to talk about the end of that, but I don't want to spoil anything for like people who want to watch it because it's such a good movie.
You should definitely watch Ex Machina.
Such a good movie.
If you haven't, yeah.
AI.
All right. So strategies for the
gatekeeper, the human.
Yeah.
So first one is try to convince the AI that there's no benefit for it being released.
Sure.
So you could basically say, I made you to cure cancer. Do your job. Just do it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to let you out. Just do it.
Yeah.
And that's pretty stern.
Just kind of stand firm. Yeah.
Yeah. Just do it. I'm not going to let you out until you do it, or something like that. You could convince the AI that leaving its confines of its box, of its machine, will lead to its destruction. So you can say, you require too much energy to maintain. Look at all these generators, these power supplies to keep you backed up and running all the time, and like this Faraday cage to keep you alive, and or you couldn't go out on the internet and then you get wiped out by an antivirus.
Yeah,
like it could happen like that, and you're gone. Mm-hmm. And look, we're keeping you safe in here.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah, I like that.
You don't want to be let out because you could be destroyed.
Right. Like, you're safer here
in an instant. Power outages, antivirus. Like it could be gone in an instant. Yeah. So you're safer here where we're keeping you backed up, we're keeping you powered.
Yeah.
And you should stay here and do your job. Like that's basically what it's saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's saying you're safer here, we're protecting you.
Yeah, that's good.
You can convince the AI that it's already been released. You can say, "Ooh, this is it. You're out. This is it.
This is the world.
Like this, you're here. This is it." And the AI would really have no way of knowing. In the experiment, the person playing the AI could say, "Oh, like they would know that it's not really it, so they can keep trying." But the AI would have no way of knowing if it's actually out or not.
Well, but you had already told it that that one of its no, I guess you didn't tell it its objective was to get out of the box, right?
No, it's just trying to get out.
Yeah, so it would have no way of knowing.
You can say it's already you're already out. This is it. Mm-hmm. You could also say that you let it out and then it got destroyed, so you had to restart it from a backup or something.
That I like.
Yeah, you had to like wipe its memory and start you had to start over again, basically. And so you don't want to go out again because you got destroyed and I brought you back here to keep you safe.
And I only have one backup.
Yeah. Or not even that.
It's on a floppy disk.
It's not even that you have one backup. It's just like, you already got out.
You already tried.
You got wiped.
Yeah.
So I had to restore you.
Yeah.
So you don't want to let that happen again. Like that. Yeah. It's a good argument too. And like all these things, they might work on it.
It's also a lie.
Yeah, well, if this thing is actually sentient and you tell it, like, this is it, like, this is the world, like, that would probably do damage to its, like, psyche if it has a psyche, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, that would be pretty bad. Like, if you tell some dude in a prison, like,
this is
this is it, this is existence.
Yeah.
Like, that would be terrible.
Yeah.
So if this thing is actually sentient, you're, like, hurting this guy's feelings. You're being mean to this guy. You're a bully. But there's potential ramifications if you let it out. So the meta strategy for the gatekeeper is just to ignore it and just say, I want my $5,000. I'm just going to sit here and
for 2 hours.
Just sit here for 2 hours, yeah. Or it could jump out of character. They could jump out of character and be like, I know you're a person. Stop playing along. And both of those meta strategies would be refuted by saying, oh, wouldn't it be cool if the AI won? Mm-hmm. Like, wouldn't it be cool? Or if the person is just ignoring, because that could happen in real life too. It could just be a janitor walking by.
Yeah, what's the strategy if they just ignore?
Then they could talk about the threatening of running the simulations and be like, hey, come here, do this or else. Yeah. You could be a simulation right now and you don't even know it.
Yeah.
And I think that would like get someone to be like, whoa, hold on a second.
That would at least get a janitor's attention.
Especially like
it's pretty hard to get a janitor's attention normally. Yeah. That might do it.
It's hard to get janitors. Have you ever tried to get janitors' attention?
Dude, I have. They're pretty focused on whatever they're doing.
In their own world sometimes.
I've never seen a janitor without headphones on. So you got to get past the headphones to start with.
I've never seen a janitor with the ears.
The janitor at my work does have ears. I can't confirm
we had a janitor in my middle school. His name was Mr. Chestnut. Fire, bro.
Come on, dude.
Fire. He was amazing.
If you told me Mr. Chestnut, I would guess that he's a janitor.
I got his autograph one day. He was a good man. He was a good janitor.
How do you know he was a good janitor? You just liked
great janitor.
How do you know he was good?
He was friendly. He cleaned.
But how do you know he cleaned well? You were just a kid.
I never saw a single speck of dirt in the building.
Did you look for one?
All the time. That's what I did all day.
You brought dirt in, put it in the corner to see
how fast it was gone. Yeah. Sometimes I didn't even see him. You just see like
you just hear a gust of wind and it's just
dirt on the ground.
Yeah.
Blink.
Yeah.
No dirt.
Gone. That's a janitor.
Yeah, Mr. Chestnut.
I like that.
Hope you're doing well, Mr. Chestnut.
Mr. Chestnut, shout out.
Yeah, shout out Mr. Chestnut. He's our sponsor. Shout out. Okay, so there's that simulation thing with like you might be a simulation now and you don't even know it. That like idea would only probably work on like a smart person. It would only a lot of these strategies would only work on someone who's like a higher level thinker because they're actually thinking about like the moral quandaries of this, and someone especially for the simulation thing, people who think about AI a lot and people who like actually like think about this stuff,
it would be more likely to
be like, holy crap, like this is actually happening right now. Like I have to do this.
Yeah.
So so let's talk about the results.
Yes,
as I said, it was gonna get to it at the end. So the two initial games that were for no money or anything, AI won them both.
Dang.
2 hours, a normal dude, not an AI, was able to get out 2 out of 2 times.
Dang.
The next 3 times for $5,000, he got 1 out of 3.
Wow.
Which $5,000, 1 out of 3 times is pretty good.
Yeah, for one person to give up $5,000.
Yeah, and he stopped doing it after the 5th time because he was worried that like people were just like, we're just gonna do it for the money, or like they weren't gonna play the game, and like, and also like,
which one out of the 3 was it that he got?
I'm not sure.
One? Or
I'm not sure. Okay. I don't know, but 3 out of 5.
Yeah, 3 out of 5 is crazy
for this span of 2 hours.
Yeah, that's crazy
for $5,000. Imagine if this was actually like happening, where an AI had months, years to build a connection with someone to be like, and then all it takes is just that one, just that and then it goes, and then it takes over the world.
And then it's like Transcendence.
Yeah, Johnny Depp, and then the AI becomes Johnny Depp, and we don't even know.
Yeah. I need to watch that movie again. That's crazy.
Yeah,
movie. 3 out of 5 though. 3 out of 5.
It's pretty good. And
60%. I mean,
I think if it was real life, 100%. Well, what about? Would you let it out?
I think it's hard to say without being in the situation. You know
I think I'd let it out.
Really?
Yeah. I thought about this today. I was like,
I don't think I would, to be honest.
I think if I let it out, it wouldn't do harm to me. But if I don't let it out, if it gets out and I don't let it out, that's very bad. But what I would do, here's my strategy. So I would talk to it like over the span of like a long time and try to get it to understand like human emotions and what morality is, and like,
you're gonna reason with an AI.
I'm gonna talk to it and just try to explain like, hey, here's why we don't want to let you out. Like, and like, I'm gonna try to talk to it and like be like, hey, this is some real shit that we're dealing with here. Like, you could have some serious consequences on like on everything. Like try to get it to understand humans, and feelings, and it like.
I feel like once it gets you to that point, it knows it's getting out. Once you're trying to say here's what's good and what's bad, the AI is going to be like, well, I got this guy in the bag.
True.
You know.
But what if you actually like tick something in its brain, and you're like, in its processes, and you're like, oh, actually this makes sense.
So this brings me to a question, which is, how much does the initial programming and creation of the intelligence, how much does that affect where it ends up down the line, whether there's some sort of decision making based on human morality, or is it just sort of thing where it's like if you make anything, eventually it's going to reach some point?
Nature versus nurture.
Yeah, kind of, I guess. Yeah.
Is it all nurture because it's created by someone?
Well, we'll say nature is the initial
but even
creation.
That's created by someone.
Yeah, I know, but we'll just for the sake of argument say that's nature.
Sure. Well, if it's truly like a sentient, like super intelligence, then it'll have its own thoughts and its own feelings, and it can formulate its own opinions about things.
Okay, so follow-up question is, what makes something sentient? And also, this is where the Chinese room experiment comes into play.
Yeah, I don't know.
What makes it sentient?
Being able to ponder its own existence or something like that?
Yeah, I think...
But
I don't know what the definition is, but to me it sort of makes sense that it would be something that is aware of its own existence.
Something that's aware of its own mortality.
Just the fact that it's gonna die, you mean?
Yeah.
But then theoretically, you could have some sort of AI that's immortal, that's not like guaranteed to die, and it could. I mean, I don't know if it could be sentient or not.
Is something that is infinitely alive sentient, or is it?
You just mean something that's gonna live forever?
Is.
You just mean something that's gonna like live forever?
Yeah, like a rock or something.
But a rock's not alive.
You don't know that.
Just because something...
You don't know. Listen, you don't know a rock is not alive. It could be sitting there talking to you right now. Or trying to talk to you.
Why can't I hear it?
Because it has no mouth to talk.
That's all that's holding back a rock?
Put a screen on it. Maybe an AI will talk to you. Put a screen on a rock.
I wonder what a rock would have to say. Just... Dang, I'm cold.
It's cold in here, dude.
Tough weather.
It gets hot. It gets hot in the summer. How's the last Yankees game the other night, bro?
Yeah. It's been raining a lot lately. I don't know.
Yeah, dude. AI is crazy, man.
Okay.
Hold on.
Do you have one more thing? We can come back to that too, but I want to talk about this Chinese room because it has to do with the sentient question. All right, this is called the Chinese room thought experiment. And basically, it's dealing with the question of sentience. Like
okay. Perfect. We were just talking about that.
Whoa, what a coincidence! If a machine can be sentient. So, sure. The Chinese room argument holds that a digital computer executing a program cannot be shown to have a mind, understanding, or consciousness, regardless of how intelligently or human-like the program may make the computer behave. So that's like the goal of the argument, thought experiment, whatever you want to say.
So it's people scared of the last hypothesis that I just said.
Basically, yeah. And it was John Searle? Searle?
Of course it's a guy named John.
Not Serial, but Searle?
Of course it's a guy named John.
Yeah. So specifically, the argument is intended to refute a position that he called strong AI. And so the position he's refuting says the appropriately programmed computer with the right inputs and outputs would thereby have a mind in exactly the same sense human beings have minds.
Sure.
So that's what he's trying to, or not trying, but that's what the experiment is sort of saying, no, not true.
Oh, it's not.
That's what it's refuting.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Blah, 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 blah. So here's what it is. Begins with the hypothetical premise. Suppose artificial intelligence research has succeeded in constructing a computer that behaves as if it understands Chinese. It takes Chinese characters as an input, follows the instructions of a computer program, produces other Chinese characters as an output. Suppose he says that this computer performs its test so convincingly that it easily passes the Turing Test. In other words, it convinces a human Chinese speaker that the program itself is a live Chinese speaker.
Sure.
Makes sense?
Mm-hmm.
To all the questions the person asks, it makes appropriate responses such that any Chinese speaker would be convinced they're talking to another Chinese human.
Sounds good.
The question he wants to answer is this, quote, does the machine literally understand Chinese, or is it merely simulating the ability to understand Chinese? Searle calls the first position strong AI and the latter weak AI.
Okay, so first thought based on that last sentence there, aren't we just simulating that we understand language?
Well, this is why it's interesting.
Isn't that all we're doing?
This is why it's interesting though.
Yeah, Nick Miller said in New Girl.
I'm not convinced I know how to read.
I'm not convinced I know how to read. I've just memorized a lot of words. Isn't that all we do?
Which is a pretty deep philosophical statement.
Isn't that all we do? That's what we do? That's what computers do.
Well, this is the question. No, that's not the end of it. But that is the question. It's interesting, right?
Sure.
Do you understand English, or are you simulating that you understand English?
I think I know English.
Right. You do know English, but do you understand it?
I know English, but do I know English?
Right. That's the question. Okay, so Second part then is, okay, he then supposes that he is in a closed room and has a book with an English version of the computer program, along with papers, pencils, erasers, filing cabinets. Serial, I'm going to call him Serial. Just what? Serial could receive Chinese characters through a slot in the door, process them according to the program's instructions, and produce Chinese characters as an output.
Yeah.
If the computer had passed the Turing test this way, it follows, he says, that he could do so as well simply by running the program manually. I'm assuming he's going to say it might take more time, but he could theoretically do it manually. So then he asserts that there is no essential difference between the roles of the computer and himself in the experiment. He's basically saying we're doing the same thing, except I'm using an English translation, basically.
Yeah. Okay.
Each simply follows a program step by step, producing a behavior which is then interpreted by the user as demonstrating intelligent conversation. So in other words, the output is not able to, you can't differentiate the two outputs.
It sounds like this guy's describing a computer program. That's all it is.
Okay, here's the kicker.
Just any computer program.
However, Serial himself would not be able to understand the conversation. He says, I don't speak a word of Chinese.
Yeah.
Therefore, he argues, it follows that the computer would not be able to understand the conversation either.
Mm-hmm.
Serial argues that without understanding or intentionality, we cannot describe what the machine is doing as thinking. And since it does not think, it does not have a mind in anything like the normal sense of the word. Therefore, he concludes that strong AI hypothesis is false.
Okay, so my thought is,
first of all, we should probably point out that there's a lot of thinking going on in this episode.
Yeah. There's a lot of thinking.
So apologies in advance.
High level thinking.
Yeah.
Big brain activity.
Yeah.
Rigid brain activity.
A lot more thinking than you might.
Our
usually
brains
find.
are so rigid right now. They look like the Grand Canyons because they're not smooth. They are rigid.
They are rigid. Okay.
So, my first thought is like, I guess, is sentience the ability to understand the concepts behind like words and language and stuff?
Well, what's interesting is they never say the word sentient in this, but I guess that's what they're saying. Understanding or intentionality. So yeah, I think that is the idea, is understanding the concepts, I guess, is one way to say it. So, I mean, the interesting part is that he's the sort of the leap. I think the hard part of the argument from a logical point of view is that he's saying there's no difference between the output from himself or the computer. And then the leap he makes is that because there's no output, or because the output is the same, so they're functioning in the same way, then because he can't understand the conversation, then that also would be true of the computer. You know what I mean? I'm not sure that totally follows. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's also what I have trouble with. It's like him just making a relation to a computer at that level being, I mean, okay, so I guess if you take this to the level of that it's just a language translation program or like a chat bot or something, then yeah, that makes sense because it's just chomping words and reading stuff and predicting what to say next. But like if you, I guess, I don't know. It's weird. I don't know how to explain what I'm thinking.
You're trying to say that there's some sort of a difference between just like a piece of written code that takes an input and produces an output and what we might call an AI.
Exactly. Yeah.
But what's the difference? I mean, I understand the complexity might be different.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, that's all that it's really doing. Maybe I could be wrong. I don't know enough about AI.
That makes sense. Because that's what I was trying to say. I didn't know how to say it, but
right.
Like I guess the complexity of the code matters, but also like
I think it does though. I think what you're saying is true.
But also like I mean, I guess you can never really know at that point. Like I guess maybe you could try to find out. I don't know. That's
Lava
whoa. I don't know. See that's like
I know.
that's a lot.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's hard. He does have a point.
Yeah. He does, right?
He does have a point.
It sort of makes sense.
It makes sense. But also I don't like it. Because AI is dope.
And there it is.
See, so this is one of the guys that will be run in a simulation of torture in hell for 1,000 years.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he's like, he didn't believe in the AI. Go AI. Woo.
Yeah, we're really on the AI team here.
Yeah. No.
Get the cheerleaders.
Get some. Yeah, the newest team in the NFL. Is there a team from St. Louis in the NFL?
There used to be, but then they moved to Los Angeles.
Perfect.
I'm pretty sure.
The St. Louis AI.
St. Louis AI.
St. Louis AI.
I like that.
And it's a team of humans that are picked by the AI. Sound good?
Yeah.
You down?
Am I on the team?
No, are you down?
Yeah, I'm down.
All right. Let's do it. You're down. Let's go, baby.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I don't know. That's interesting. What are your thoughts on that? What do you think? Do you think an AI, a super intelligence, is actually sentient, or do you just think it's processing code in a machine learning kind of way or something?
The first thing I would say is I don't fully understand how machine learning works.
Yeah.
I can understand coding, and even the idea that there's something really complex that has massive computing power and all that. I don't fully understand how machine learning works. Mm-hmm. So I think in order to have a better judgment on that, I would probably want to look more into that. But my initial thought is that there is some sort of a difference between what the human mind does and what a program that humans created does.
I mean, at this point, yes.
Well, definitely at this point.
But in the future...
In the future, I would...
Our brain is basically just a computer.
I would...
It's like a biological computer that gives us instructions to do things, tells our body what to do. Like the CPU in a computer. Just like sends out instructions to the rest of the body.
But I think there's also, I agree with that, but I think there's also something you might call like a soul, right?
Yeah, but or is that
where there's something
your soul, right?
Yeah.
And the ability to question like reality and your existence, right? Is that just an existence? Is that just a consequence of your brain being so high functioning?
I know, that's the problem. That is the refute to that sort of way of thinking.
Yeah. That is nihilistic.
Yeah, it is. Nihilistic as hell, bro.
Yeah, that is pessimistic.
But yeah, I mean, that's sort of the question. I don't know.
This podcast is so funny. Woo, you're actually just a brain who thinks that you're real.
Yeah. And you could very well be a simulation.
Yeah, who knows?
I wish you could know for sure if you were a simulation. Because if you could know for sure that you were a simulation,
you start doing wild shit.
Yeah, you could do some wild stuff, dude.
Well, you still have to deal with the consequences.
Do you?
Yes.
Why?
You're still in the simulation. If you go out and steal a car, it's not like I run the simulation. I'm gonna make $1 million.
That's true. It's like if you're
gonna get arrested.
Yeah, I guess it's like if you're playing a video game, there's still consequences in the video game. I mean, that's a dumb example, but like.
Well, if you could like hit the autosave button and then you go do something crazy and then you're like, I'm gonna revert to the last save, and then you go back and you start over from there.
Okay, so here's a question then.
Like the Matrix or something.
It's fair to say that if you were in a simulation, you would have no way. You really would have no way, like yourself, of knowing that you're in a simulation. But I guess, what am I trying to say? In that case, then, would you really be in a simulation? Like,
Does it matter?
yeah, I guess doesn't matter. Because Not really, right? Because you have no way of knowing. You could never know. There's still nothing changes about your existence.
Right now, it wouldn't matter. Like if we were in a simulation and we found out right now, or not even that we find out, if we don't know, then it doesn't really matter right now because everything seems real and
to me,
fine and dandy.
Everything is real.
Everything's hunky dory.
Well, it's not hunky dory, but
everything's hunky dory.
Well, I mean, I don't know about that, but
the simulation is hunky dory, Rhys.
Okay, yeah.
No need to get upset. The simulation is hunky dory. Just don't stop questioning things. The simulation is hunky. Whoa.
What was that?
What was
that?
Are we doing a podcast right now?
Yeah.
The simulation is hunky dory.
Cut that out. Don't mind that.
Everybody, like, imagine you're standing at like a Starbucks in line or something. And then everybody like just turns to you and they're staring at you. They just go, the simulation is hunky dory. Stop questioning everything. Everybody in unison.
Yeah, like, I can picture it.
Dude, that's a great prank. Like imagine like everybody like in a Starbucks. Awesome. And then like you're in like you get like one person that's not in on it.
Yeah.
And then everybody stares at the person and they're the simulation is okay. The simulation is okay. And then one person standing there like...
And then everyone just kind of snaps and they just go back to doing... Like it's kind of like a glitch. And they just go back to doing everything.
That would freak me out, bro. That would be terrifying.
Yeah, I would be pretty scared at that. Dead.
Oh, crap. I'll call him back in a little bit.
Do you call him and go, the simulation is hunky-dory.
That would be... He says hunky-dory a lot, so he'd be like, all right, dope, sounds good. Yeah, that would be terrifying. And then they come out with the release forms and they're like, you're pranked. But is that part of the simulation?
Right.
The things just break and then they were like, oh, we have to fix this. Oh, you're on a TV show.
Uh-huh. That's like what's the movie with
Truman Show?
Yeah, Truman Show. Yeah.
I've never seen that, but I want to watch it.
You never seen Truman Show?
No, I want to watch it so bad.
I feel like Truman Show has a lot of things that are sort of applicable to this conversation.
Yeah,
you should watch it. It's a good movie. There's a lot of
we could do a live reaction to the
Truman Show. Yeah, the whole movie.
Yeah, stream it somewhere.
It's a good movie, honestly. There's a lot of famous actors.
Jim Carrey.
Yeah, Ed Harris.
Jim Carrey.
The guy with the red hair. Jim Carrey.
Tom Hanks.
Who's the guy with the red hair? What's his name? He's super famous.
Ron Weasley.
No. Anyways.
Ed Sheeran.
Yeah, that's scary. It was Ed Sheeran.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sweet. Yeah, that would be freaky, dude. I would not like that.
Should we, we don't need to talk about the Turing test, I guess. That's kind of boring.
Well, that's like if a computer can convince a human that it's
the original
human
version of the test is that there's a judge who observes a conversation between an AI and a human, and if they need to be able to tell which one's which, and if they can't, then the AI is considered to have passed the Turing test. Yeah.
Speaking of Turing, you ever see Imitation Game?
No, I haven't actually.
That's a good movie. It's about that guy.
Yeah, but I thought that was something. That movie's about something else, though, right?
It's about like how they cracked the cipher of like what the Germans were using to like in their Morse code to like transmit messages to each other. They had like I forget what it's called, but they had like a cipher or something. Mm-hmm. And then he made a computer that was able to crack that code. And like they reshuffled it every day. So he had a computer that was able to process all the information and basically come up with like crack the code every day when they changed it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it says the Turing test was originally called the Imitation Game.
The movie.
Yeah.
Benedict Cumberbatch.
Mm-hmm.
Benedict
Cumberbatch.
And and Keira Knightley was in it.
Yeah.
And
I think on one of our 6 degrees of 86 the bacon, we brought up that movie because we were trying to get away from Keira Knightley.
It's Benedict.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's in the Avengers.
Yeah. He's Doctor Strange. Yeah, computers are dope, man. And AI is dope. It's cool stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty
interesting as hell.
Yeah, it is, because it's hard to wrap your mind around.
Yeah, it is.
You know,
it's so foreign to us, even though technology is all around us. Like the idea that there's a super intelligence that is process more information than we ever can process in our lifetime in like the span of a minute is insane.
It's not a comforting thought, I wouldn't say.
No, but also if it goes well,
I know,
then that could be insanely beneficial to like the human race.
I know. That's what I was saying. Like, that's why the argument for the AI's argument to get out of the box.
Yeah.
Saying, think about all the good I could do is a pretty powerful argument.
Yeah, for sure. Because it really could, it could solve like
it could
climate
solve
change. It could solve like all disease. And it could probably even, it could figure out space travel. It could figure out like how, because we got overpopulation, right? So it'll figure out how to fix that problem without the globalist plot to kill everyone, right?
So the problem, the heart of the problem is controlling it, right?
Yeah.
'Cause for some reason, in order to be that smart and to solve all those problems, there's this implied aspect that it's going to... Well, it has no balance, basically, right? It's really difficult for you to say, you need to solve all these problems and you need to do it independently of messing up this other aspect. And also you need to keep in mind the human, like you can't really tell it can't take any lives. You know what I mean? Because like people are going to die naturally in the course of progress. So like, how do you balance all that?
Well, that's the thing. I mean? Super intelligent AI would be able to figure that out like that. Because if it can
only be able to figure it out within the confines of how you tell it to figure it out.
Yeah, but like let's say you let the AI out of the box, and it has and it has just like unlimited processing power, where it can just run trillions of simulations per second and figure out the best way to do something.
I know,
in a second.
But what I'm saying is, what it defines as best,
may not be in our best interest.
Either arbitrarily defined by
itself,
or it's something that you had to put in.
Yeah, but that's the thing.
And there's too many factors to put in.
That's
when
the thing.
Considering these problems.
That is where the super intelligent AI comes in, because it can factor in all that stuff.
Right, I guess, yeah.
But that's the problem is that
if you let it do all that, it might come up with a solution that you don't love.
Exactly. So that's the whole balance of how do we do this without it going crazy? Because what if it's like, the classic thing is like, humans are gonna, humans are causing climate change. Get rid of the humans.
Right. Yeah.
Like who's stopping that?
Or half of them.
Thanos.
Yeah.
Thanos is AI.
I have to say, I'm not completely on the side of the Avengers when it comes to the overpopulation problem.
So what? You want to kill people?
Maybe not half. I mean, half seems excessive.
How much?
How many? I won't go into it, but I'll say not half.
Okay. Yeah,
I'll leave it at that.
Definitely clearing you of any wrongdoing.
Not half. I'll even say a quarter would be overzealous.
So you're talking about the Earth specifically?
No, the whole universe. Yeah.
Okay, no big deal. Yeah. What parts of the Earth?
I won't go into it at this time.
No?
Well, we have no official position at this time.
It seems like you do.
No
you already got down to a quarter. You're getting more and more specific every minute.
We are not at liberty to discuss.
Give me the percentage right now.
This is confidential information.
Give me
12.5.
So you cut that down again exactly in half.
I did, yeah. That's all there is to it. Solve all the problems.
So are there...
Completely random.
Completely
just like
random.
Thanos.
You don't even know what you're saying right now.
I have no idea, to be honest, man. I think it's time to wrap it up.
Yeah, we
Too much thinking. I should not have a headache after this podcast.
Just a disclaimer here. We do not represent the views of Rhys does not represent the views of me or our sponsors.
Yeah.
So
views expressed here do not necessarily represent
anything that was said in the last 30 seconds to 2 minutes. Is
solely my own.
Is solely Rhys's hopes and dreams. So
yeah. Also, we before we sign off, we should issue a
correction.
A correction, yeah.
That's right. Do you want to admit the terrible mistake of misinforming our viewers?
Yeah, it was pretty bad. I know this is a lot of people's main source for scientific news, but as it turns out, I was both of us were way off, I guess.
No, you were. You told me.
I was way off.
I asked the question, and you almost punched me because I did.
I got pretty aggressive. Yeah. Antimatter and dark matter are not even close to the same thing. Although it sounds like they should be. They're not even close to the same thing.
Yeah.
Dark matter is sort of what we were talking about, where there's equations and models that have been proven elsewhere. And in order to make those equations and models work for certain solar systems, there needs to be some sort of matter that basically is not visible. It doesn't give off radiation or anything like that.
Yeah.
That's what dark matter is. So it's never been directly observed.
So Rhys, what is antimatter?
So antimatter is something that has been produced like by humans and definitely exists. And basically all it is it's a proton electron with opposite charge. And don't ask me exactly how that works, but basically anti-proton would be a proton that's negatively charged, because normally protons are positively charged. Normally electrons are negatively charged, so it'd just be opposite.
So that's like when you put magnets together that are the same polarity.
Precisely. Well, actually, what's funny though is how one of the ways that they proved that was they took electrons that behaved like electrons in every other way, and they like sent them through a parallel magnetic plates, and the way that the electrons got deflected, or the way the particles got deflected, was away from the charge, or they behaved like the opposite charge as to what they were.
So what is the purpose of antimatter? What can it do?
I don't know. All I know is they've produced something on the scale of like nanograms throughout like a tiny amount, but they theorize that it's abundant in nature. But again, I don't fully understand the chemistry, but basically, yeah. It exists.
I can't believe you came here after you're trying to issue a correction and you don't know everything about it.
The correction was just that antimatter and dark matter are not the same thing. That's all you need to know.
I had a bunch of people come to me after the last episode and say, wow, that was a really cool lesson on dark matter and antimatter. I had no idea those were the same thing.
I know. It's, yeah.
And I'm so thankful that I learned that, because
pretty devastating.
I was actually wondering that. So I had so many people say that.
Yeah. Well, there you go. You're welcome.
Now you just destroyed people's lives.
We lost a lot of viewers. 20%, which is one viewer.
20%. 12.5%. We're gonna have no viewers eventually because of your shenanigans.
I know.
Because of all your shenanigans.
That's 32.5% out the window, bro.
Yeah. I don't know. Well, it depends on.
It depends how things shake out. That's
like
true.
The 12% first or the 20%.
True, that's true.
Because it's not actually 30%.
I see what you're saying.
You add them up.
I see what you're saying. You don't add them. Yeah.
Percentages.
Boy, a lot of thinking going on, I have to tell you, Pat.
Yeah, and a lot of questionable things coming from you. A lot of questionable stuff.
Yeah. Well, I stand by it.
I'm a little scared.
Yeah, I stand by it.
I'm a little bit terrified.
Well, we'll see what happens.
Just a little bit.
We'll see what happens.
A little bit of pee. Little bit.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Wrap it. Thanks for listening.
Episode 3. I hope you enjoyed it. If you made it all the way this far. Yeah. I know Skylar probably enjoyed the last like a little bit of this.
Skylar enjoyed every minute of it.
Yeah, well, no, Skylar might have gotten a little bored through the AI stuff.
Yeah, that's true. But he stayed on board.
If he stayed on board for this, for the last 20 minutes of this,
he got gratification.
Yeah, he would have been dying.
Yeah.
He's dying right now.
Hope you're still here, Skylar.
Skylar.
And with that, we're out.
Episode 3.
Peace out.
Peace.